Failure is inevitable in life, and it may be an extremely disheartening experience. The only thing that differentiates successful people from the rest of the population is how they react when they experience setbacks. When you are confronted with challenges, you need to decide whether you are going to allow them to be the reason for your failure or if you are going to make them the reason for your success instead. There is no such thing as failure, just some feedback. Robert Allen. Failure may be a wonderful educator if you approach it with the appropriate mentality. If you have the correct mentality, failure will break your routine and provide you with the chance to investigate different approaches to a problem. However, this is the only case if you are willing to learn from your mistakes. A research that was undertaken by the psychologist Albert Bandura demonstrated exactly how significant of a role our attitudes play in the face of disappointment. For the purpose of the study, two different groups of employees were given the same management job to accomplish. It was explained to the first group that the objective of the job was to assess their level of managerial expertise. The second group was informed that the abilities necessary to do the activity might be improved and that the assignment itself was only a chance to practice and get better. The researchers ensured that all of the participants would be unsuccessful by making the job extremely challenging, and the researchers were successful in their plan. The first group, who probably felt like they were failures due to the fact that their abilities weren't up to standard, didn't make much of an improvement when they were given opportunities to redo the exercise. The second group, on the other hand, approached each setback as potential chance for growth, and as a result, they were able to accomplish the job at increasingly higher levels with each new try. Even still, the members of the second group ranked their own levels of self-assurance as higher than those in the first group. Some of life's most valuable lessons are also among the most difficult to acknowledge and internalize in the appropriate manner. These are the types of lessons that test your adaptability and your eagerness to learn new things. The lessons we learn end up being difficult ones when we don't take them too hard quickly enough. And here are 10 harsh lessons you need for success. Fear is the leading cause of looking back with regret. At the end of the day, you will be more disappointed in yourself for the opportunities you passed up than you will be for the ones you didn't take advantage of. Try new things and don't be scared to fail. I frequently overhear someone asking, "What is the absolute worst that could possibly happen to you? Will it kill you?" Yet, death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing that can happen to you is to let yourself die on the inside while you are still living. You will never have as much control as you would like to have. It is impossible to control every result in life since there are too many variables to consider. But you are in charge of how you respond to circumstances that are outside your direct influence. Your response is what converts an error into a learning experience and what guarantees that a success does not drive your ego through the ceiling. Both of these outcomes are dependent on you. It is impossible to win every single skirmish, but with the correct mentality, you may prevail over your enemies and take the war. You can't expect everyone to back you up. The majority of individuals won't. You may be bombarded by negativity, passive hostility, rage, or envy from some individuals. But none of these matters because, as Dr. Seuss once stated, those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. We can't possibly win over everyone's support, and it would be a waste of time and effort to try to convince those who aren't on board with what we're doing in the first place. Giving up one's attachment to the viewpoints of others whose input is irrelevant frees up one's time and energy to focus on those who and what truly important. The initial step is notoriously challenging for everyone. When you set out to do anything significant, taking that very first step is going to unavoidably be challenging and maybe even nerve-wracking. Anxiety and dread may be overcome when one musters the courage to take the first step toward achieving their goals. Individuals that rush in headlong to take that difficult initial step are not inherently more powerful than the rest of us. Rather, they have just realized that doing so generates better outcomes. They are aware that the discomfort associated with getting started is unavoidable and that putting things off would just make their misery last longer. Your biggest concerns are mental. We tend to visit the past and lament actions we've taken, or we tend to visit the future and become nervous about things that haven't even taken place yet. Either way, this tends to be the root source of almost all of our troubles. It is far too simple to travel either into the past or into the future. When you do this, you risk losing sight of the one thing that is genuinely within your control: the now. Things of value rarely come quickly. Time and effort are very essential components of success. The author Malcolm Gladwell proposed that mastery of any subject required 10,000 hours of continuous concentration. There are a lot of successful individuals that feel the same way. Think about people like Henry Ford, who started two car companies that failed before he started Ford at the age of 45. Or Harry Bernstein, who devoted his entire life to writing before finally landing a bestseller at the age of 96. Both of these people worked tirelessly at their craft for their entire lives before finally achieving success. You come to the conclusion that the process of getting there was far more enjoyable than the end result. You are a reflection of the people you keep in your inner circle. You should make it a priority to surround yourself with motivating and encouraging individuals who will push you to the best version of yourself. And you probably do. Yet, what should you do about the folks that bring you down? Why do you let them interfere with your life in any way? You should not waste your time on people that make you feel useless, nervous, or uninspired, since they are wasting your time and very potentially making you more like themselves. Associating with individuals like them is a waste of time given how brief life is. Give them their freedom. Being busy is not the same thing as being productive. Take a look about you at everyone else. They all appear to have a lot on their plate, as they are constantly dashing from one appointment to the next and sending out emails. But how many of them are actually successful and producing at a high level? Focusing on one's attention and making sure that one's time is spent in an effective and efficient manner are the two most important factors in determining one's level of success. Everyone else has the same amount of hours in a day as you do, so make the most of the ones you have. You are, after all, the result of your output, not the product of your effort. Ensure that the projects you are putting your effort into are ones that will produce outcomes. Your sense of self-worth has to originate from inside. When you take your pleasure and feeling of satisfaction on comparing yourself favorably or unfavorably with others, you are no longer in control of your own destiny. When you feel good about anything that you've done, don't let other people's thoughts or successes steal that feeling from you. Instead, celebrate those things. Although while it's hard to completely shut off your reactions to what other people think of you, you don't have to compare yourself to other people, and you can always choose to disregard what other people have to say. So, regardless of what other people are thinking or doing, your sense of self-worth will originate from within. One thing is certain: despite the fact that other people's opinions of you may change at any given time, you are never as good or as horrible as others say you are. There is no such thing as perfect. You shouldn't set your sights on reaching perfection as your goal. It is a non-existing thing. People are flawed simply because they are made of flesh and blood. When you strive for perfection, you will constantly be left with the nagging feeling that you have failed, which will make you want to give up or lessen the amount of work you put in. Instead of going on and being pleased about what you've achieved in the past and what you'll accomplish in the future, you wind up spending your time bemoaning what you failed to accomplish and what you could have done better. Those who are successful never cease expanding their knowledge. They always strive to improve themselves by drawing wisdom from both their past failures and their most recent successes. Hence, if you are interested in learning more on this subject, we ask that you kindly subscribe to our channel. And while you are there, be sure to click the notification bell.